Who's coming out? All right, looks like we're live. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Moonlighting with Black Spring. This is this is Black Spring with Autumn, and we have our special guest for this stream, and it is Old School Wolf. And we'll talk about a few things tonight. So if you're interested in jumping on, I'm going to plug in the link so that you can do that. And just ladies and gentlemen, if you're coming on, this is not necessarily a growth stream. So if you shout out something, just keep it. You don't have to do too much to shout out. We'll do that on another time. But I'll go ahead and go ahead and copy this, and we can get started.
Good to go.
Okay.
Happy to be here.
All right. Thanks so much for coming on. So would you just like to tell us about your time, or what your time or your platform, or what's attracted you to YouTube, or what? Yes.
Well, my channel is Old School Wolf Media. I chose that because it's been my handle since I was a teenager, and I've never had to put numbers after it. You find a lot of YouTube creators, they take a very specific stance, and their channel has to be all around that stance. Well, what happens in 4 years when you no longer have that stance? So Old School Wolf Media is just my direct reflection of anything I find interesting. And yeah, it's something I thought about doing for a while. I like talking, I like getting my opinion out there. I think deeply about situations, and just seeing everything going on in mainstream media and realizing just how freaking retarded it is. The thing that really stuck with me was several years ago when Hurricane Maria was coming through and getting ready to hit Puerto Rico. And you had CNN spent the entire damned night talking about how Donald Trump wasn't taking it seriously. Imagine the irony and the hypocrisy all at the same time. Like they could have spent the entire night talking about Puerto Rico, which is the only reason why I tuned in. But no, they spent the entire night just talking about how much Donald Trump wasn't taking it seriously. Absolutely ridiculous.
So just hang out real quick. Just shout out to SnapZilla Gorilla. Welcome to the Black Spring Live and the Moonlighting. So
what's up, SnapZilla?
Welcome on. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I noticed that they do similar things. It always starts out the same way. It always starts out the same way. So yeah, but you can keep going. I'm sorry.
Well, that's cool. So I started doing my channel, figuring out how to work YouTube and work OBS. Went through those technical difficulties, and ultimately it was all about just trying to share what I understood about what was going on in the real world. I've always had a healthy distrust of the government. So it was only getting worse. When Donald Trump, actually, in 2016, I didn't know Donald Trump was running at first. I just kept seeing these stupid memes all throughout Facebook about how Donald Trump was running on a platform of hatred. I'm like, the media has loved him for 30 freaking years. Why is it all of a sudden now they dislike him? And I thought he was just another. I thought it was a celebrity. I thought it was just a celebrity stunt, and we saw that in California when the governor was running. Everybody just thought, that was like the first time we saw like a huge showing of celebrities. Even Gary Coleman, threw his hat in the ring and said, "You know what? This is so hilarious. There's so many celebrities running for governor of California. I'm gonna file for it too, just to be funny." I thought that was the same thing when Trump was running. So everybody was surprised that he kept kind of winning the debates. And then it came down to election day, and I'm like, there's no way I'm voting for Hillary. As someone that spent a lot of time in the military and actually seeing her testify before Congress, at no point, she was not required to be under oath, and she was not under oath. But testifying before Congress and saying, "Oh, well, I didn't know those things were classified. You mean I couldn't have those on a personal server? I didn't know. I thought they were yoga emails." Watching that and how she got away with it, and how James Comey was just like, she didn't mean to break the law. I'm just thinking, I've seen people lose their entire careers for this much, like 0.1% of what she did. And she was like walking around scot-free. So I'm like, there's no way I'm voting for her. I was just voting against her. So much to my surprise, Trump actually started fulfilling his promises. And one of the things that everybody liked about Trump is that, when somebody, threw shade at him, he threw it right back. Somebody took a swing, he took a swing right back. Doesn't matter if he's swinging in the dark, he is swinging back.
I'm going to do a couple of run-ins here. Hi, guys. How you doing? About time. We have SnapZilla Gorilla here. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for coming in. Looks like we have a thumbs up. Thank you for that. A little orange man bad from SnapZilla Gorilla. He said, dag, everybody started. Is at the same time, lol. And Killary, that was a good one. Let's see.
Oh, yeah.
Army infantryman over here.
Good to go.
Yeah, so you kind of got going. So did you start back in like 16 or 2016, or you were on a little bit?
I started last year. Honestly, I should have started way sooner because I was actually living in DC for about 10 months there, living and working there. And I probably could have done a lot more there if I had started. But I'm one of those people, I'm kind of slow to get started on things. But once I finally did, I'm like, I love this. Especially when I started figuring out like how many people are actually shy to come online and do a video. I've gotten a lot of false positives. I've gotten a lot of people who are like, oh yeah, I'll come on and talk about this subject. And then they just keep backing out and then suddenly they disappear. Like, people are afraid to come out and talk. I don't understand why. But apparently it's easy for me. So I figure I got to be here to try, keep spreading what I see to be true. And I've told people before, I'm like, I don't care if I'm talking to an empty room. I will share my opinion.
Yeah, well, that's really great. And that's one thing that I think is, I think that's where I think many people have, I don't know. I mean, I haven't done a lot of public speaking, so to speak. I mean, I do have a teaching background, but then nobody actually listens in those classes either. So I just thought, why not give this a shot? And I haven't been disappointed with it so far, but yeah, I did see you on DJ Vision Barnett's show, and it was, it just seems like you were pretty free and willing to come forward with your opinion, and so tonight I wanted to talk about maybe a couple of things, it'll be two or three things, but they'll kind of like, I guess they'll all be related, I guess, on some level. But I guess for one, it's the stimulus package, a little bit on the martial law that everybody that's kind of been like a buzzword. It seems like that's been buzzing. It's like it was buzzing around before anything. It's just all kinds of things kind of came into play.
Well, people are, fear is a superpower. Makes you more agile. Makes you faster, more quick to react to things. Gives you a little more. It gives you energy. Gives you more bravery. Fear is a superpower. The problem is, it also makes you careless. Makes you, makes you give in too easy to fear. So the concept of martial law, that would be impossible. On 327 million people, I would love to see the whole of the United States military try to maintain martial law in New York City. It's not going to work out well. Okay? It's just it's totalitarian at its worst, and also quite impossible. Martial law is when the military takes total control of a town or a locality. Okay. In order to do that in the land of rebellions, the level of control you would have to maintain would be almost impossible. And the fact that this is America, we believe in the Second Amendment. You can't do that shit in the South. It ain't gonna work.
No, that's what I mean. I believe you. I know that about. I mean, I have Southern roots myself, and I know, for instance, Alabama, they love their guns, and they love they love the Bible. They
People are
love this stuff. They will
rediscovering these
tell you.
things. People are rediscovering these things. So like when the Nazis marched across Europe and took over France and all the several European countries, they maintained very strict martial law. Their martial law involved, constantly raping the women and shooting people after dark, stuff like that. And they could do it because nobody had guns except for the Nazis. You can't do that.
I hear you. And I think I've heard something similar to that would be. Well, okay, I'll go this route. I've heard that for one, when we had, I think as soon as the National Guard, that was the other thing, the other buzz that came out. Oh my God, the National Guard's been, Trump has called the National Guard. My uncle was texting everybody, and I'm just thinking, I would imagine that they're going to use the National Guard for more on a logistics kind of basis, because they can find an ink pen maybe quicker or a little bit fast, better than, maybe the staff or whatever. Maybe that's just what, that's what they do. And I think he was just creating, it's like everything that came out of his mouth, it was just absolute fear. And I'm like, I can't even deal with this. Not even get me out of this group family text. I don't want to be in this, you're not even thinking, you're just panicking. And then he puts that out there, and then he says nothing. And I started to respond, but I said, it's not even worth it, because it'll only get worse if I try to add something else to this. So yeah, California is not the only place where they've activated the guard. I think
they've activated some guard here in Georgia as well. And we have considerably less to worry about. It's just like you said, it's just about logistics, setting up field hospitals. Like you have the Army Corps of Engineers that have been activated to build hospitals in New York State. You probably call it some National Guard to help orchestrate that as well. Aside from that, the National Guard has to train regardless. We do our 2 weeks a year. We have our 1 week in a month. We have to move gear around, so people see our trucks on the road, or they see tanks on a train, and they're like, "Oh my God!" Well, those things have always been traveling that way. The only difference is now you're noticing it. Okay, that's the best way to get a tank from point A to point B without tearing a lot of shit up. You got to put it on a train.
Well, that's nice, but then that kind of makes me think of this. Like, where do you think? I mean, besides the media, doing their gaslighting and all the, and all the propaganda, do you think it's a failure maybe amongst, like, the public just doesn't really, it just seems like the public just really doesn't understand many levels of, they don't understand defense. They don't understand the presence of it. They don't understand, it's everything. Like, even even growing up, they used to talk about, people just, the government, the government, the government's probably watching us right now. It's just like this mythical evil villain. And I'm just thinking, well, who is the government? Is it one person? Is it one big thing? I'm not sure what causes. I mean, how did you learn about government? Did you learn about it like in a fearful, kind of threatening, foreboding, did you learn about it that way? Or
I don't know. Let me think here. I think I've always just had a healthy distrust of the government. I distrust anybody that for some reason holds power over me. I think, tell you what, a lot of times humans we can't verbalize the things that we feel deeply. Like all these people running to the store and buying toilet paper, they can't verbalize that, because what's going on is their instincts are kicking in. So we have a hard time verbalizing our instincts. Well, apparently you got a really big fan in here.
I know. Let me get out here just a second. I'm sorry. I will come up for air here. Hello, everybody. Hi, Chrysler Imperial H. And about time. He says, sorry, I can't see your name here. Ooh, okay. I'll work on it. Hi, Silly As. And it looks like maybe Silly As is responding. Are you responding to the activated military? I think the activated guard. I think Rickbo Rides. Shout out to you. I think there's some shout outs also for my co-host. No, you don't trust the government. You don't trust.
Well, I've worked for the government long enough to know not to trust them. Remember, the government is composed of other humans just like you. Okay? I don't trust myself half the time. But the thing is, what thing about it? In any organization, you're going to take care of yourself first. Okay? You take care of you, your people first. That's how it works. All right? So the government is a huge entity with its own best interest in mind. All right? And what I was starting to get on earlier about how humans, we still have instincts. We just can't get in touch and verbalize them. All right. We can put some things together. So have you ever ordered food at a restaurant and they mess it up?
Yes.
And what do they do about that?
Sometimes they offer to redo it, or you have
now,
to
what is their motivation for doing that? What is their motivation for going out of their way to wasting, twice as much money on the same food product for you?
I guess they want to keep you. They want they to get you to come back. You know what I mean, to return.
What happens if you don't come back?
Then I guess it's still not really a loss. I mean, it is, but
what happens when Chili's messes up your food? Where do you go?
I just go to Applebee's or something.
And you know what? I was thinking Applebee's as well. Thing is, they have competition. They understand, laws of nature. You have competition. Okay, who competes with the government?
Well, I guess it's kind of it's
nobody.
They're an entity. I guess they know that.
That's the thing. That's why you can't. That's why you have to have a healthy distrust of it. Freaking, in the nature, you realize, like in any private organization, they know that there's other competition out there, so they have to be the best. The government, this is why they suck at everything. They know that you have to come back. They know that you have to be their customer. They don't care how bad a service they give to you. I mean, how many people just wake up thinking to themselves, "Oh my goodness, I get to go to the DMV today."
Hi, Patrick.
It doesn't happen.
Killer Whale, nice to see you. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm noticing like most of the things that they like. Just for instance, like if we just went for an example to, what do you think of and when we talk about stimulus bill, I've even heard that Ilhan Omar is suggesting that all private hospitals become nationalized during this pandemic.
If Hillary was in office, that's exactly what would happen. I keep thinking that maybe this might have been the Hillary plan all along. They haven't been able to implement anything, so this is one last yeehaw. It's like in the what was that one movie? A guy with a cowboy hat, riding a missile down to Russia. Freaking one last yeehaw. Yeah, and so they just put it all in one great big stimulus bill. And half the stuff in that stimulus bill has nothing to do with the coronavirus. They just put it all in there at once. And I think they would have tried to nationalize the hospital and nationalize medicine. But you talk to people in Mexico where they have nationalized hospitals, they don't like it. Or in Canada. Canada is arguably on the same technological level as the United States, but nobody wants to go to a Canadian hospital. Italy has nationalized hospital and medical force. That's why so many people are dying there. Their hospitals are absolutely disgusting. It doesn't attract good employees.
Right. I mean, I can see that. I mean, and then they were saying, "Oh, just for the time of the pandemic." It's just that's what she said. And it'll be returned to them. It'll be returned back to the private. Back to the private. Ownership after the pandemic. So she's thinking that, let's just do that to all hospitals. That was an article that I read. But I think even the press even tried to put the heat on Trump about. They were trying to say that, other places, other hospitals or other companies, they're trying to get medical equipment, but are you threatening to nationalize, I guess the production of the mask, the N95? That was one of the, they started hammering him on that. And I don't think he's.
That was hilarious. Yeah, they wanted him to like make some calls and like put people on the government dime and make threats saying, you will make these masks or I will disbar you. Just wave my magic president wand and you're gone forever. He didn't have to. So many companies, Hanes. Hanes called up and said, hey, we can make some masks for you. Bill Barr came out and said, hey, anybody that's got a warehouse or mask, just saying, no, if you got your own personal box, that's on you. But anybody that's got like a warehouse full of masks, yeah, we're coming for you. The next day, 39 million masks were found in a warehouse by a union in California. It's just like magic. They came out and said, hey, I just stumbled upon this like whole warehouse full of masks. I mean, I think you might want to have some of those. So Donald Trump hasn't really had to force anyone. He realizes, like we're just talking about how nature works. Why the government is historically bad at everything. The one thing they are good at is being bad at everything. So if the government steps in, call some random companies and say, you are now assembling these products. Okay, make it happen. We need them tomorrow. It's not going to work. The government doesn't know who to call. However, a company knows what they can and cannot do. And if they know they can do it, they just call up and say, hey, we're making this now. Tell us what to deliver. That's how business and, the law of nature works.
Well, here, just FYI, About Time says I only have 6 million masks.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're just under the limit there. You might want to call Bill Barr just to be sure. I don't know about that one. I'm not a mask expert.
Yeah, well, I think, and see, to me, that was like, I think even the auto industry, I think even Elon Musk and some other people kind of came out. To me, that was the country, like, that was, I think, like a unifying, Americans helping fellow Americans, kind of coming out. They're not reporting, they had nothing to say about any of those companies stepping up.
Mm-hmm.
They just wanted another, he's just the all occasion devil, like Nixon. I've heard, they compare him to Nixon all the time. It's just nonstop.
Well, when you want to pick a baddie Republican to compare it to, Nixon's a great one to compare it to.
Okay, just FYI, this is from Patrick Jane Forums at Chrysler Imperial. He says, hello, brother. Who is the guest? This is Old School Wolf, everyone. I don't know if I say that is cool. It's probably he says it because it's his name and not mine. But he's the guest. So if anybody else wants to hop on, I guess we'll give you a few minutes and we'll bring you on in a little while. So let us know. But
you can turn our banners on in the branding section.
In the branding section? Okay, let me see what I can do here.
StreamYard is amazing. I love this tool.
See, you're showing me stuff right now. What is it? Like banners? I'm in banners.
Branding. Go to branding.
Brand. Okay. Scroll down. Is it one that says display names?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Yeah, just hit display names.
Okay. So it should work now?
It will once you take this off. Take that highlight off. The comment you have highlighted.
Okay.
Undo it. There we go.
Okay. Yeah. See, I like I said, this program and this platform is still very much new to me, and
you're gonna love it.
I mean, it's right off OBS to me, like, oh my God, I feel like so wonky after, like, it's like my brain doesn't have enough. I don't have, I tried opening it. I thought, well, maybe I can use the hotkeys to make this a little bit better, but I'm in and out of screens. Before I know it, I forget what. So this is easier. Is that not fair to say?
Yeah. Oh yeah. StreamYard is so much easier than anything else I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know I haven't tried any of the other programs, but I thought, well, this seems to be easier and it's also faster. I don't have to. It's just kind of right to the point.
Oh yeah, it's very streamlined.
So yeah, so then also we were talking about some of the things that are in this in the alphabet soup, stimulus bill. But what do you think about just what, I mean, to me, this is a loan. This $1,200, these direct payments that they're talking about. What do you think the effects on the economy?
Okay, this is I don't want to call this the nuclear option. The nuclear option is when you're trying to bomb someone. If anything, you can call this the nuclear option against Trump. Everything, the coronavirus and this bill itself. In reality, but to us, it's just the radioactive option. It's the best bad option there is. Everything is designed around floating the economy until people can get back to work. So it's quite dangerous that people keep trying to shut down their states. So I would think that it almost looks like the Democrats either don't understand economics or they're intentionally trying to crash the economy, which either one of those are just as likely as the other. So this $1,200, it is anything given to us is automatically going to come out of taxes. So technically it is kind of a loan to us. However, this is being made by just kind of printing money out of nowhere. That's the true danger here. We're looking at, a 4% inflation rate in a matter of a few weeks. Normally we're supposed to do that in a year. This is ridiculous. So my stance from the beginning has been, this should be all just straight unemployment benefit for the individual workers getting unemployment, because it's something that we pay into. It's already there. The only thing that you need to differentiate, put two different things in there. One, anybody that's just recently started work within the past 3 months and normally does not rate unemployment, now they rate it. Okay, everyone's automatically rated at 2/3 of their pay. And second, the more important thing here is anybody that applies for it gets it. Okay, because there's a huge process you have to go through when you claim unemployment. You have to go in, you have to fill out paperwork, you have to go through a class and maybe take a resume writing class and BS like that. There's a lot of processing. So you just remove that and say automatically approved. That automatically takes care of everyone. There's no inflation there. You're exercising a benefit you already have, and you're going to pay back into that benefit. You're not blowing up the inflation. And then all the money actually going to businesses. That should be low interest loans, just straight low interest loans. Whatever you request, you will get. Going to pay it back. That's what it should be. Instead, the Democrats were trying to say, well, if we're gonna bail out Boeing, we're gonna own a stake in their company. Boeing came back and said, no way in a million years we're signing on to this, because also in this, you want us to. You're saying that if we sign on to this, we have to create a jet engine that's 50% more effective, or that's impossible to just blatantly do that. That's going to cost trillions of dollars. A $50 billion loan is going to cost us trillions of dollars in the end. No, we're not doing that. A lot of companies are looking at that and say, no, we'd rather go out of business than have to work for you, because you want us to hire our CEOs based off of diversity.
Yes, they had a lot of crazy, regulations in there. I mean, I know already that. I mean, I'm in the aviation industry myself, and I know that the company they've kind of prided themselves on what they've cut. They've been cutting emissions or carbon emissions, but they have this plan, this whole structure to do even more. But I can't imagine. Well, I think that would, either the price of the price of tickets would go, like sky high, or, it would be bad, for the airline industry to be held to those kinds of standards. I mean,
it's impossible. It's impossible. This is why I said earlier that the Democrats seem to view government as God, as if they can just dictate it, like magically. You will magically create a jet engine that's 50% more fuel efficient. No, okay, that's absolutely absurd. Can they make it better? I believe they can. 50% better overnight? No. Okay, that's years of engineering. Instead of mandating people to do it, what you do is you put up a prize and say, hey, anybody that meets this goal meets this goal, wins the prize. Put a prize of like $1 trillion. I guarantee you, every engineering industry in the United States is going to be pooling their resources to try and figure out how to perfect the jet engine.
Right. So yeah, so that's, I mean, on the with the airline industry, and then also, what do you think about the currency? I mean, I think our debt, I mean, we have what, 23, that's what I've heard, some different numbers. I heard it's actually higher than $23 trillion, that we're in the debt, a debtor's nation. But you also, to me, they're putting pieces of that Green New Deal, which was already like 93. It
was an impossible number. It was an impossible number. Where I tried reading through the Green New Deal. I'm like, did a fifth grader put this together? Just make new jobs. Just make new jobs. That's how it works. Well, Obama tried that. Nobody got a job out of it. You can't just create jobs out of nowhere. Okay, private industry has to create jobs based off of need. You need to generate the need. The only reason why the 2008 crisis lasted so long is because Obama kept trying to, legislate out the crisis. Like when he created Obamacare, suddenly thousands of people lost their jobs.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. It's like, to me, it almost seems like we waited. That was the slowest recovery. One of the slowest recoveries in history. It's like he sat on the economy for what was like 8 or 9 months. And he gave out stimulus payments. I think it was like $300.
Yeah. What the hell are you gonna do with $300 when that's like one credit card bill? Most people took that $300 and put it straight towards a credit card.
I know, and I didn't really think that was but then the bailout for the auto industries and then the banks, a lot of people that I talked to say, oh, well, they're still not lending. They still weren't lending money or whatever after they got bailed out. I think they were saying that it was tougher to get a loan, I guess, after the bailouts.
Well, they kind of had to be after they were so loose with their loans for about 10 years there, which, created the Ponzi scheme. And honestly, the main thing that created the Ponzi scheme of the home ownership was the government-backed loans, the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Yeah.
That's what created the problem in the first place, and we're still doing that. That's a danger. The government can't just randomly say, we're going to back all your loans, don't worry about it. What do you think is going to happen in nature? They're like, oh, no matter who fails, the government's got it. Somebody else is paying this. Screw yeah. Let's approve everyone. We make money off of this. And that's what happened.
Well, and then I'm kind of going back into something that you were saying earlier. You were saying either the Democrats don't really understand economics, or on some level they want a failed economy. Do you think it's more if you go with the idea that they want a failed economy? Do you think that's something that they're politicizing against Trump, for the election? Would that be the reason?
Yeah, that would make sense to me. That they, in the beginning, like a lot of people on the left said that they hoped the economy would fail so they could get rid of Trump. Well, that's a horrible thing to wish. Even some people on the left realized, I don't like Trump, but that's a really bad idea if the economy tanks. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're using this stimulus bill and they use the media to force the economy to shut down. And Trump pulls out a win every time. Trump is winning this. His approval ratings are up, and his pressers that he's doing every day are garnering more views than mainstream media. So mainstream media is like, well, we can't put this stuff on. It makes him look good.
To get off. Get him off. Get him off. And and he just totally he pretty much just, he just shuts them down. And it's like, they just really, it's
they're not used to him. They're not used to someone firing him back and say, shut your mouth, dude. I'm not listening.
And then I heard somebody say that, well, I just turn it off when he starts talking and I only listen to the doctor. But I'm like, but Trump has turned it. It's like they act like the man has no humility and no integrity, which is not true at all. He's turned it over to, what is it, Fauci. He's turned it over to him. I'm not sure who the other lady is.
Dr. Bricks, I think her name is Deborah Bricks.
I think that's right. And I've seen him turn many things over to it doesn't really matter what the subject matter is. I've also seen him turn over when they start, well, are you going to, if anybody that's illegal shows up and they want to be tested, will they be will they be detained if they come in to get a test, at a hospital? And then so he turned that question over to I'm not sure who that was. It was Pence. Pence said, "Oh, Homeland Security. They've already addressed that question. They're not going to be. They're not going into hospitals and emergency rooms. They're not. They're not trying to. They're not trying to detain people or apprehend people from hospitals at this time. They're going to be allowed to be tested or whatnot. They're going to get treated or get tested. So it's just they just set everything up for Trump to be this kind of tyrannical, or like you would have thought they were like talking about like a communist, the whole nationalism of the hospitals, so nationalize the industry on production, the whole, what was it, the Production Act, the Defense Production Act. It's like they wanted him to do, they set up their little litmus test, so
they wanted him to act more like a Nazi. They want him to be exactly what they claim he is, but only this time for the betterment of America.
So I'm going to just give a few shout outs in here. Hi, everybody. Let's see. I'm going to catch up here, guys. All right. About time. Says, I know I can't get sick, so I'm good, lol. About time says, Doc Fauci says he believes it will return in fall even stronger, or he's concerned about that. About time says, I think the government already talking about the next package. Unemployment is same thing from About Time. Unemployment is just a phone call these days, Wolf.
I've never had that experience. I might go state by state, but anytime I've had to claim unemployment, I filled it out online. I had to come in for appointments. I had to wait for letters. I was never able to do it over the phone.
Wow.
Okay, so maybe you got a better system than I do. I don't know.
So we have Chrysler Imperial that says, leave it to AOC. She is the one that came up with the Green New Deal. Let's see. About Time says, remember when Obama made a TV address that people should accept pay cuts from their employers? The next day, my company and others cut everyone's pay 20%. He said it never got it back. After almost 2 years, I quit, lost 20% and lost overtime and lost regular hours. That was a crazy time. And shout out to Miss Oobs Musica. And all right, so that kind of catches us up on that. All right, so what do you think in terms of, so tomorrow is, I guess they're actually doing the vote. Do you think that, by the way, I just want to make this point before I go into that. Speaker Pelosi, I managed to survive another one of her press conferences. Now, now I want to talk a little bit about the Federal Reserve. She says, oh, well, I spoke to the Chairman Powell, and he says, oh, think big. It was just like, think big about the what we can do, the low interest rates. And, it's only going to be a drop in the bucket, this money that they want to give, to California and New York. And, basically, I think she was like suggesting like subsidies or, like it's just going to be, I don't know. She's just spin is all she can eke out on this press conference.
She's doing everything she can to make people think she's in control, like she has the reins. Somehow, she's turned Chuck Schumer into a cuckold because he's a senator. She's just a congresswoman. Somehow she controls Chucky Schumer. But the House was also supposed to vote on that bill yesterday. Okay, it's very unusual for it to go through the Senate and then go down to the House of Representatives. I was so confused about that. They were supposed to vote on it as well, especially since it was her bill in the first place. She tanked the other one, said we're going to do this one. They could have easily voted on it then. The thing is, though, if you have both houses working on the same bill at the same time, which one are you going to watch? Okay, she's going for the TV time. That's why she didn't want to do it yesterday. She wants to do it tomorrow so she can have all the TV for herself. She's just slowing it down because she can do that, and she wants everyone to understand that she has that power. It doesn't matter that she's actually hurting America by exercising that power. She wants everyone to know that she has power too. And her whole press conference of her saying that when I talked to the head of the Fed, and we had this conversation, she's trying to take the place of the president. She's trying to make everyone think, Pelosi is the one that runs everything. What does Trump do again? That's exactly what she's trying to do.
Well, it's very irritating. I agree with that. I've been saying that for a while because she gets up there and she assumes and she opens up with this horrible monologue. Oh, the battle of the bold, or we must be bold and forward. It's always this, pretentious opening that she starts. It's like fake patriotism that she offers before she goes into her, it's always blame Trump. She's got to start out with hate Trump, and then she'll go into whatever her agenda is. Or I remember previous administrations, she's shouting out Obama all the time, even on Obamacare. I think she brought that up also, saying that that Trump is fighting Obamacare and to take health care away from the other, from millions of Americans, or at a time like this. They're fighting it in the courts.
Lost their health care because of Obamacare.
Yeah, I mean, some people couldn't even get it. It didn't even reach. Many people did not even get Obamacare, or they couldn't get it, or it just wasn't a better deal. I mean, I went to the marketplace?
Yeah.
I shopped the marketplace and I didn't find that it was more affordable. A lot of doctors were not issued letters that they were not going to accept that. They did. I was basically dropped, and I ended up getting a promotion at my job. So, I didn't have to worry about it. But for people that didn't, have another option, they were kind of left out, with Obamacare and the marketplace. So, yeah, that's, I don't know. Pelosi is hard to watch.
No, you just kind of wonder how much she's had to drink today. She needs to retire. All these old fogies. Like think about this woman. Let me Google this real fast. How old is Nancy Pelosi? 80. She's 80 years old.
Are you serious?
Last time I checked, she was 79.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize she was that old.
80 years old. What is she doing there? Retire. Go home. Be Grammy. Okay, just be Grammy. Honestly, she's a puppet. She is someone if you want to get tinfoil hat, you can say that this entire debacle is all a battle between the world elites. She's owned by someone, and she has to answer to that someone. That's probably the only reason why her and some of these old fogies like Joe Biden are still, wandered around trying to pass legislation and be a part of the government.
Right. I think I do think that it's like, for a while, the whole impeachment hoax, it was like the starting lineup. It was Schumer. I think Schumer kind of got out of he was like not on the front lines, I think, at a certain point during the whole impeachment. And then it was Schiff, Nadler, Nancy.
Yeah.
That ended up, the Three Stooges were, they stuck together, and it was like Schumer kind of disappeared.
Schumer was in the Senate. He couldn't be too involved. It had to start in the Congress, but once it got to, he stayed on the outskirts. He poked in when he could, like a prairie dog. Then and then when it finally got to the Senate, that's when he got really vocal about everything, and he just wouldn't shut up. Like he couldn't let people be on their holiday break. He had to come out and say and say stuff. Try to enrage Americans, and wouldn't surprise me if they were part of if they were partly behind trying to shut down the U.S. economy to try and make Trump look bad. Well, that backfires because now nobody has anything to do. So what are they doing? They're watching the president, and they're finally discovering for the first time, hey, kind of like this guy.
Yeah, that is funny that it is, that their little plan is I don't know. They've tried everything. I'm just wondering, my gosh, could there be something else? We've survived so many of these, hoax, or, I don't know. I just think that that we need a win, and we need to get to November as soon as possible. This is exhausting.
We need to win back. We need to. I know the main thing is winning back the House of Representatives and holding on to the Senate. But in reality, I think we just need to get real people in there, regardless of their political affiliation. Because there's definitely Democrats that are closer to the conservative and Republicans that are closer to liberal. It just depends on what part of the country they're in. But we just need to get real people in there, not talking heads. Not the Pelosi's, not the Schumers, not Schiff. Not AOC.
Oh gosh.
Like she was a prop. She was supposed to be someone's mouthpiece. So to some degree, I admire the fact that she speaks for herself. Problem is, she's generally quite moronic.
I have something for you now. It says from About Time. It says, I heard there's a 25% increase in pay for the House and Senate in this bill. Anyone hear that too?
I did hear that. I wanted to check it out, but I didn't have time. Man, that's been going all around the interwebs. Let me pull up the bill.
I think I had the original bill, but it's just like, oh my gosh, how many times is this thing going to be drawn up, and is it going to die eventually, just die? Or, I mean, how many times can they rally this thing? I
don't know. The Republicans worked very hard to try and get this thing passed, no matter how bad it was. Then they came in and they keep bombing it. And there's even threats of this thing getting bombed tomorrow by the Democrats. So yeah, I'm not totally against Congress. I'm actually not totally against Congress getting a raise or their entire pay structure being altered based on what they're actually doing. These people are required to maintain 2 households. That's very difficult. The problem is, what's it doing in a stimulus bill? This is a gigantic budget bill, not a stimulus bill.
I know. And then, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in that bill. I think there was even something in there for migration, like $300 million for, and maybe even something in for illegals, for what they're going through during this. To me, that's again, I mean, I'm trying to differentiate here at some point the difference between wealth redistribution or subsidize or having American taxpayers subsidize, everybody else in the whole world, and for people from, third world countries, or, they're just spending money, like, people that don't have rights don't actually have rights to be collecting anything. They don't have identity. Like it's just so many things that are wrong with this whole immigration issue, which I think the Americans should be outraged about it, because, like, for instance, if you and I go to the airport, we have to comply with the real ID regulations. They want they want at least 2 forms of ID before you can get onto a plane, or you got to have it for TSA. But then somebody can come into the country with absolutely nothing, and then at some point, start getting benefits or claim asylum, or they don't want to close up the loopholes, and they don't want to do. To me, that stuff is still not fixed. There's been no legislation on anything regarding the immigration. So I'm just thinking that's just going to roll over to the next. They're going to roll that into the next 4 years.
Yeah, Donald Trump was actually trying to legalize 1.8 million DACAs, which I'm not completely against. It's just and the Democrats bombed that too. They're like, no, we won't. We don't want to legalize them. We want to keep them as slaves. And that's essentially what illegal immigrants are. Because even now, amongst this COVID-19 BS, I see a lot of people on the left sharing pictures of illegal immigrants working the field, saying, "Look, these illegal immigrants are working hard to make our, cultivate our food." And I'm thinking, yeah, they're working hard, working way under minimum wage. They can't call the police if they're getting abused. They have no rights because they're here illegally. They are legitimately the new slave class, and that's what they're trying to hold on to.
Right, and then that's also the other part of the bill that I saw. What was it? Are they requiring for our democracy is another thing, another talking point that Nancy does all the time. She wants to require, what is it, early voting or voting by mail? Is that the ballot harvesting risk in that?
That's a huge ballot harvesting risk. That's up for the states to figure out. That's up for, let this thing burn out and see how we feel getting closer to November. We can pass legislation, like 2 months in advance, like break this stuff up. Let's work on it's supposed to be a stimulus package. Let's work on the stimulus part. All this other nonsense we can work on later. But no, they want to do it all at once. It's like they're intentionally trying to make this difficult. Coming back from a 1 week vacation, saying, no, we're not doing the $1 trillion one. We're doing the $2.2 trillion one. And here's 1,400 pages of it. No, I mean, you had Mitch McConnell up to 1 a.m. in the morning working with Chucky Schumer to, on that first package. I mean, these people are senior citizens, elderly, up to 1 a.m. trying to sort this out. I don't know how they do it.
No, I mean, and then what was it after what, 12 a.m.? I mean, who's still functioning who can still make any clear decisions about anything? Or
no, I mean, how many good decisions do we make at that time of the night? I mean, maybe if you're like a construction worker that works at night, yeah, that makes sense. But for any average American, no. At 1 a.m., we don't make the best decisions. That's when we eat a whole friggin' Ben and Jerry's ice cream. It's not. we stay up and we watch a horror movie, then we try to go to sleep. No, we don't make good decisions at that time. It's very difficult to function in general. And we have these geriatric senior citizens there trying to pass this through. And then that one geriatric lady comes back and says, I don't care how much work you did on it. We're going to do this one now. Chuck Schumer's right on it. So I don't know how she controls Chuck Schumer.
Yeah, it's almost like they're a joint at the hip whenever possible. It's very, and then, I think to me, it's like he came back with I don't know if I can call it a bang when he was at that. There was an abortion kind of meeting, a hearing or something down in, was it New Orleans, where he did the whole, telling the justices that they would regret their decisions, their horrible decisions. Because it was like he was just to me really on the low he was out of the whole impeachment thing, and then he comes back and then he's attacking because Kavanaugh and the other justice on on an abortion hearing down in New Orleans. So I don't know. I think Chuck Schumer's a nasty character.
I don't know. Chiming in on things that aren't pertinent to him. He's isn't he a New York senator?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he needs to handle New York business. Don't worry about Alabama. Okay, don't worry about that. Worry about New York. That's what you were hired to do. These people are no longer serving their constituents.
No, I think they're letting AOC. I mean, I even think that AOC was running the roost a little bit on the things that they porked up that bill with, because I'm just thinking that she and the squad maybe went back in and told, telling Nancy, I guess the election season's coming up, and we're gonna, if you don't go along with our Green New Deal, we're gonna make things harder for you.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she's really ruining things for them. She's not a team player. She's on her own party, and she's made it clear to everybody else that, hey, we're changing this. We are not actually on the same team. Like she's doing her own thing. They can't stand her, and it is hilarious.
Yeah, well, I think there's 3 divisions in that party. But you have is Joe Biden supposed to be the moderate? Is he's supposed to be the moderate? AOC and her squad are the socialist, and then I don't know what else. What else could there be there? Like a moderate, a socialist, and then somebody's got to be worse. Elizabeth Warren, in the candidates, she was. I think President Trump said, she's a socialist or worse, maybe the communist. But I think they're more communist than anything. The party,
Yeah, they want state control over everything. They can't stand that there's private industry out there, and honestly, they might be working for some private industry elites there. I honestly think Michael Bloomberg saw Donald Trump win the presidency, and he's like, you know what? I can do that too. I can spend more money on it too. He didn't have any of the pizzazz Donald Trump did. Donald Trump spent his entire life, his entire career in the muck with the common folk. He spoke their language. Friggin' Bloomberg, he didn't. Once he got ahead of everyone, he's like, screw you guys. I'm peasants. I'm doing my own thing. I'm above you. I'm better than all of you. And that's how Michael Bloomberg talks. Of course, he didn't. He didn't win any favors that way. So I think Michael Bloomberg was saying, hey, everything else we've done so far, we could not stop Trump. Because, Michael Bloomberg even admitted it in one of the debates. He said that he made sure 21 Democrats got elected to the House. At first, he was trying to say, I bought them. But then he corrected himself. He's like, I made sure they got elected. Well, how do you live in 21 districts? How is that fair that you give money to these people in 21 different districts and make sure they get elected? He did that to all Democrats specifically, and he stated that he wanted to make sure Pelosi had the power to push the impeachment. So he was the puppet master there. What is he still controlling now? I mean, he's not worried about economic collapse.
No.
He blew $500 million just to get humiliated on stage.
Yeah, it was funny to hear Trump talk about it, on how failed his campaign was. So let's see, I'm going to get into a little bit of these comments here, guys. Sorry, I'm a little backed up, but let's see. About Time says, I've never been so disgusted by the elected bunch, and I don't include Trump in that statement. Patrick James Forums, a.k.a. Killer Whale, says, I can't believe who all they vote in office in California. Well, I want to speak to that just for a second. I think that from what I understand, that the whole, even in Orange County, which has been red for many, many years, I think they've managed to flip that blue via ballot harvesting, I think is what I understood on that. So I'm just wondering if the ballot harvesting is something that they're trying to bank on, for this election, or I guess if they can get it passed, maybe they can try to manipulate it.
Probably. And ballot harvesting should be illegal. Hopefully they do that. But they're in for something else here. With the turnout, like with the primaries, the turnout that Donald Trump has been getting in just the primaries, everyone's, the left is trying to say, oh, he's not getting that many votes. He's getting twice the amount of votes as any other incumbent president in history. In some of the states, when you look at some of the states, just his votes compared to every Democrat vote cast, he wins outright. And this is crazy. It's going to be a madhouse come November. Like, people are going to have to early vote from day one to make sure everyone can vote, because it's going to be unless they want to keep the polls open for 24 hours, because those are going to be some long lines everywhere you go. Right.
Well, I think I'm going to make sure I'm there first. But luckily my little precinct it's in the neighborhood, so I can just walk. I can walk there, but in some cases, no, that's not the case. You got to drive. You got to drive a little bit in some cases. Yeah.
I'm glad I did early voting last time, because it was crazy. And then we had the midterm elections, and across the nation, voting stations were overrun. They just didn't know what to do about it. They'd never seen it before. And it's going to be even worse this time. So as much as some people hate Donald Trump, I think they should at least admit that he made people care about politics again. You have all these people learning about politics for the first time in their lives. And even throughout this, they're finally realizing, well, wait a minute. Donald Trump's not a dictator. No shit. That's why, you know, dictators don't have rivals. Their rivals get shot very fast. This is how North Korea stays North Korea.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, see, I'll read a few more of these, and then we can actually, you know, I don't know if anybody else has, we can round out, or if anybody else has anything. Because I guess it's just at this point, we're just kind of like, we're in hurry up and wait mode. Like, I would really, to me, to see this thing go into another week, I think a lot of people are getting really,
To some degree, I hope the stimulus package doesn't get passed because of all the pork barrel spending, because of what it's going to do to the inflation. I honestly think that people can actually start getting back to work and the economy will start rolling. I just don't think the stimulus package is the best way to do it. But it's the radioactive option. It's the best bad idea we have.
Mm-hmm.
And this entire coronavirus BS, it never should have happened the way it is. And they're finally starting to discover what those of us are, what us commoners have already figured out. Because today in the presser, what's her name? Dr. Blix, whatever. She said, first of all, we're discovering that the Italy model was completely wrong, because if it was right, there would be 400,000 more dead Italians, but there isn't. They're realizing that all the models are wrong. This is something that those of us on the ground, you know, with those instincts are figuring out, that we've known for a while, that there was something weird going along, just nobody knew what it was.
Right. So let me read some of these. Let's see. This was Lol. Well, I know, I'm amazed. And Silly as I Want to Be says the enemy within. All time says yes. So this is going back to where we were on the what was in the bill. They tried to put in DACA. I heard. Let me see if I'm not getting too far behind here, guys. Shout out to Basket Lastic TV. Hope I got that right. Excuse me.
You're gonna die.
No. So that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't want to be. I never want to cough around anybody. At least I'm at home, and I didn't do it because I have heard that people here are calling the cops if they hear the neighbors coughing.
Yeah, that's been happening in California. It's absolutely absurd. In Pennsylvania right now, if you see a business open and you think it shouldn't be open, you can call the police about that.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. People are going so crazy about all of this. It's like they're discovering biology for the first time. There's this, you know, in my own Facebook groups that I go and I chat in or stir up trash. Somebody posted a text that they got saying, I'm going to an emergency meeting at the hospital. We've just discovered that this virus can live for several hours on the handle of gas pumps and shopping cart bars. So make sure you grab it with some paper towel and throw the paper towel away, you know, when you're done. And I'm thinking, this isn't news. There's nothing new about this. Literally for like 20 years now, at least 20 years, grocery stores have had sanitizing wipes for the shopping carts. You know, I remember, being 4 years old in school, people, teachers saying, don't be touching your face. That's where you get germs.
It's not new.
Gas pump handles. Yeah, of course. Of course, that's where you get germs from. Like, are you just now discovering this? Like, we discovered it. Humanity discovered this like over 100 years ago. Why are you just now finding out?
I know, it's just bringing out I don't know what it's bringing out in many people other than just
fear. The straight fear. Everyone's saying, oh, we're so fucked. We haven't done enough testing. Or, oh my goodness, the cases are climbing. Well, that's because they're doing more testing now. And like I keep telling you, it's been here for months. They're just now figuring it out.
I know. And I know it's, I don't know. I mean, I know there's a lot of information out there, and I know I think there's a lot of misinformation out there, but it's not. It's the common sense. The common sense of it is not new at all.
No, the the media has been done everything they can from day one to turn this into anything other than what it is. So at first they were trying to turn this into a racism virus. Okay. So for the first 2 months that this thing was in China that they knew about it, Don Lemon and MSNBC and CNN, all those people, they kept calling it the Chinese coronavirus or the Wuhan virus. And then as soon as a Republican says it, they're like, "Oh my goodness, it's so racist." They didn't say thank you for setting the example by self-quarantining. They said, "You're so racist. It's so disgusting to say this." Now they're trying to politicize it. Like, that's just where it comes from. That's how most people think. And when the common American tunes in to see this on TV, or they read this on CNN, they think to myself, well, there's nothing dangerous about this. If the most dangerous thing about this is that somehow it's making people wildly racist, then obviously it's not going to destroy my lungs. It might just make me hate Asians or something. That's what they made it sound like. And so it's just wildly inaccurate. They're saying, they're blatantly lying about people dying during the quarantine, but then somewhere in the article, that's where they state, "Oh, he didn't die of coronavirus." Well, so why'd you make this about the coronavirus? It's just so crazy. Now they don't understand why people are buying guns. Like, according to the media, we're all going to die anyway, so might as well get your green gun.
Yeah, I know. It's just, I'm going to be honest. I've had to turn it off on some levels, because, even like the press conferences with the president and the Corona task force, and but most people aren't even paying attention to President Trump. They're talking about him having a spray tan at this. I mean, like, are you kidding? They're
actually, more people
his eyes like this, and the rest of his skin is different color.
Well, more people are actually kind of waking up to what's going on and are listening to him, which is why they don't want to. Mainstream media does not want to put him on air, because his little pressers are getting higher ratings than their shows. So more people are waking up to it, and the media is just desperately trying to make this thing horrible, which is why they've had several reporters keep trying to push the racism virus thing in the pressers. And Donald Trump's like, it came from China. That's it, man. You're reading too much into this. It came from China. That's it, right?
I know. It's so funny to watch. I mean, he actually, to me, if they just relax, the guy actually has a sense of humor. It's and then they don't get it. They're just like, let me see how rigid I can be for this entire.
How bad can we be?
I won't break.
They told Donald Trump, they're like, "Oh, Mitt Romney has caught the coronavirus," and Donald Trump's like, "Oh, gee, that's too bad." The reporter didn't know what to do. He's like, "Oh, is that sarcasm?" And Donald Trump's like, "Oh, no, it's not sarcasm."
Isn't that sad? I mean,
it's just hilarious. Oh,
yeah, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. But you're right. I think they are they're being forced to sit there and listen to updates, listen to him talk about other things. And he's pretty straightforward. He doesn't really, he doesn't.
He says what he's thinking about. All right. He says what he's learning. And it's blowing their minds. They're not used to hearing a politician actually speaking some facsimile of truth. They're not used to a politician actually talking about what's on the top of their head. They're used to they're used to so many rehearsed statements that don't answer a single question. They just don't know what to do about it.
Well, I want to go ahead and round out this this stream, and it's nice to have a different perspective, and it's been great having you on. I mean, do you want to? I've offered it a few times to the people here. Does anybody want to add anything to what we're saying here on the first Moonlighting with Black Spring? The floor is open. And if not, in the meantime, Old School Wolf, do you want to add anything else to tell us anything else about yourself, where we can find you and see what you're doing on YouTube?
Well, somebody wants to come in. I just dropped the StreamYard link, and I'll go ahead and drop my link as well if somebody wants to come check out my channel. I mainly do live streams now. It's difficult to do videos, but I do my best to cover what I see, what's going on. I try to rifle through a bunch of stories, letting you know what's going on, give you my own commentary, let you know, calling BS on things that I think are BS. And the mainstream media failed us. That's why so many of us flock to YouTube. We're trying to latch onto some truth somewhere, and I am very happy to try and dish it out to people that are interested in it. So you're more than welcome to come check out my streams, come check out my videos. And if you got questions, ask us. Get our views. Make us think about this stuff. We like doing research. That's why we're here.
But anybody, like I said, you're welcome to come on. Don't be shy. Can I say that?
Well, you might have to approve the links I drop because I'm not a moderator, so it's probably automatically holding back the links.
Okay, just for kicks, where would I find that if it's blocked?
Oh, it'll show up for you since it's your stream. You just go to, if you have your YouTube video running on a different tab, you'll be able to see it and interact with the chat.
Let me see what it's doing. No, actually, because I didn't even open up because I don't actually see. I didn't open it up. Actually, okay, I'm seeing you right now.
If you have your YouTube video running on a different tab. Oh, I sound wonderful. You'll be able to see it and interact with the chat.
Let me see what it's doing. No, actually, because I didn't even open up because I don't see. Let me see. Let me see if I see. I didn't open it up. Actually, okay, I'm seeing you right now.
If you have your YouTube video running on a different tab. Oh,
I'm running it right now.
Interact with the chat.
Let's see what it's doing. No, actually, because I didn't even open up. I don't see your link at all.
I didn't open it up. Actually, okay, I'm seeing you right now. If you have your YouTube video running
Oh my God! You hear the feedback on that?
Yeah. Might want to hit the mute button on the video. I'll drop my link in the private chat right here in the StreamYard.
Hang on. Okay, so I muted that one. Let it keep playing and it's muted. So you said it's in the private one? Okay, I see private chat right here. Okay, I can.
Oh, wait a minute. That's the wrong link. My bad. That's to my old channel. Let me give you a.
Yeah, I really appreciate you for coming on because I was like, oh, I know how much time I need to give you. I mean, give you to come on and yeah, because you're on another time zone and I'm out here and.
Hey, I'm good. I don't mind coming on and talking about things, especially right now. There's not a lot going on. People just sitting, the media is lying to everyone and nobody can go to work. It's just so freaking dumb. So talking about my area, yeah, here in Georgia, lots of places are shutting down. The furniture store has been determined to be non-essential. However, the auto sales place is considered essential. I don't know how that works out, but I went to Governor Brian Kemp today, or was it last night? He extended he said the children are going to be out of school until April 24th. So he extended that by a few weeks.
Okay.
So every time something like this happens where it gets extended, where there's more going on that we can't get back to work, I go out and I buy more ammo and spam.
Okay. Shrewd. So, yeah, well, I will tell you around here, I don't know. I haven't tried it. I mean, I live in San Diego And I have not tried to go to the beach or anything, but I heard they were handing out citations or whatnot, or tickets or whatnot. And yeah, but but other than that, I mean, we still have you can do the takeout thing for the restaurants. You can still go to the bank, but you got your little X, you got your little box, stand on this box for your 6 feet, 8 people at a time, that kind of a bit. I went to the range the other day, and one of the people came out, "Are you guys practicing good social distancing?" I'm like, "You don't have an X on the ground, so maybe we're not, but the gun range, they're out of ammo. They said only have it for the range, but you can't do any shooting. So it's just, we even have some, I think in LA, they've said that it's non-essential. So they've shut those gun shops down for sure.
Actually, they had to reopen them.
Really?
They had to reopen them. So yeah, they were trying to, that's such a violation of law. So the Stafford Act, which was enacted by Donald Trump, states specifically in no uncertain terms that nobody can shut down gun sales. Nobody can ban the sale of guns, and many state laws adopt that. So there's probably a California state law itself that also bans, that also says that you cannot shut down gun stores or ban the sale of guns at all. I wouldn't be surprised. So the county sheriff, LA County Sheriff, tried doing that, and the city council, not city council, city attorney, county council or whatever, came to him and said, "Hey, you can't do that. We really need to not do that because we cannot win that in court."
Well, the problem, the thing is, it's kind of confusing here because the thing is, they won't say when I ask them directly, okay, what are the hours? Because that system was overloaded because you're going through all these checks for people that want to purchase a firearm. You're running these checks and everything on everybody, but then they won't say, okay, what time are you guys opening tomorrow? Well, you got to go on to Facebook or Instagram to find out. They don't
even know. See, they don't even know what's going on. So I had that, like one of the gun stores I went to today. I got there and he's like, "Yeah, I just opened." It was like 1 p.m. I'm like, "Oh, well, a good timing for me." But that was a big discussion throughout Gilmer County as to whether or not he's considered essential or not. I think somebody finally realized that it's illegal to tell him he's not. So the rules he was operating under was 1 customer at a time, Gilmer County only.
Wow.
Ridiculous, which I'm not Gilmer County. I just didn't volunteer that information. And being that he didn't have any guns I was looking for, it was cool. I just got the ammo, and he gouged that price too, but I'm like, this stuff is hard to find. Might as well buy it.
Right. Well, I was talking. I knew what type of gun I wanted to get, but then I was asking in terms of. She was saying, "Well, I only have like some of the higher end stuff left because everything else is gone." And
yeah.
And then the system went down, and they were like, "Okay, we don't know if we're going to be able to open today." And like, just go on to onto Facebook or Instagram to see if we're going to open tomorrow. So I was like, okay. I'll come back tomorrow, but I just can't tell. They had a big sign yesterday that said, only deliveries were coming in at that time. So I don't know. It's just, I don't know. A lot of people, a lot of gun owners were freaking out about the whole.
Darn right.
In LA. Yeah. So.
Darn right. That shit's scary. That's exactly why we own guns. When the government says, because LA. First, they start off by saying, because of the coronavirus and because we're going to maintain social distancing, when you call us, we will not show up. Of course, that freaks people out. They start buying guns. They're like, okay, well, looks like I'm on my own now. I need to protect myself and my family. Gun sales go through the roof.
Yeah.
And then LA says, all right, I see a lot of people are buying guns now, so we're going to hire 1,300 more deputies and put 1,300 more deputies on the streets. What? Really? So now you're going to maintain social distancing by putting 1,300 more deputies on the streets and at the same time not show up to help people when they call you for help, and also stop them from actually protecting, doing what they have to do to protect themselves. It's disgusting.
Right.
And Californians for the first time are figuring this stuff out, and they're trying to bribe gun store owners, not realizing that they're breaking the law when they say, "Hey, if I pay you extra money, can I get it faster?" That's a federal crime.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Like I said, I'll probably go back out there again and see. I'll check online and see if I can figure, but even online, it wasn't that easy to figure out. Like I think every day you got to go on and
Yeah, this is going to
what
be.
the hours are.
It's going to be even out here in the country. It's kind of a show up thing and see what they have.
Mm-hmm.
And for you and being in San Diego, it's way worse. You're going to have to go. You're going to have to go way out to like the country area, like Vista or Escondido, or even further out, like even maybe even Temecula.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I guess I better start to, find another range. Like some of the ranges, some of them were closed. I don't know if they're all. I just need to see what's going on. I usually just go out to my range and and deal with them. But it's time to, I guess.
Well, if you're looking to buy a new gun, that's what you're going to have to do, because what's happening is the people in the cities are the ones freaking out more because they're buying up all the supplies and they're like, oh my goodness, there's no supplies. But then when they go out to the country, they're like, oh, these grocery stores are still full. And that's what I've been seeing out here, hour north of Atlanta. Some of there's certain shelves on our there's certain sections of our shelves that are going empty, but for the most part, we're still like 99% stocked.
Wow.
Okay. And when I'm going through there, I'm definitely seeing a lot of people there that are not locals.
Okay. So they're coming in. They're coming
definitely seeing Atlanta people coming up. And even when I was at the gun store, that first gun store today, he said, yeah, he's got a backup of there's been a backup of background checks because of not the FBI, but the firearms, tobacco, whatever. Those people are backed up. And he said he's got people from Florida trying to buy guns from him. I'm like, Florida? We're an hour north of Atlanta. Where are these Floridians coming from?
Let me grab some of these comments here. Hi, Tim and Vina. How are you guys doing? This is, let's see. Hi to the host and everybody.
Hello, Tim and Vina Adventures. Are you feeling adventurous today?
And let's see. We have, what else? When will we be able to purchase jet fighters? Is that what?
That's the debate itself as to whether or not we should be able to buy military grade equipment. That actually does fall under the Second Amendment debate.
Okay, so and then this one says, I don't call 911. And Chrysler Imperial, how are you doing? It says ATF is the word you're looking for.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just starting to run late for me. But
Yeah. Well, once again, I appreciate you and thank you for being on Black Spring, the Moonlighting with Black Spring. And so I'll look forward to coming over to your channel and seeing what's going on. And it was fun and it was informative, and it's nice to know that you guys are doing that. You guys still have ammunition and actually guns. It feels better to know that because at one point I was hearing, oh, there's no more guns in the whole country. I was starting to panic then, like there's no ammo, there's no guns, and like what is this? Is it real? How much of it is true? So there's something from Celia. I want to check out MK2 Scout car. I know 4 owners. Okay.
MK2 Scout car. Okay.
MK2 Scout car. And this is from Custom Wheel Horse Tractor, Erica 83. How are you doing? And we're going to wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on this segment. And I'd like to say thank you again to my host. Not my co-host.
Guest. So it's getting late for you too, huh?
Yeah. To my guest, and say good night to everybody in the chat. You guys have a great night.
I was happy to meet all of you. Hope you all feel educated. And I'm always down for a stream. Always down to talk about what's going on. So I'm Old School Wolf Media. Everyone have a good night.
All right. Thanks. I'm sure we'll have you back. Thank you. Good night.
Ooh.